Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Good to Watch channel. My name is Moji. These US government bodies, institutions, and commercial banks are very involved in making rules that will eventually apply to Bitcoin. In news stories, press releases, and policy papers, they have made it very clear that they see financial privacy, the value of Bitcoin, and the popularity of Bitcoin as direct threats that cause what they call cybercrime. Still, many of these agencies and business and central banks had ripped off and stolen from the American people many times before. In the end, this information is meant to show that the battle for control of the cryptocurrency space is a small part of the bigger war going on over the future of our society, our country, and the world. Will we fall asleep and wake up in a world of CBDCs? Were they spy agencies? Central banks and commercial banks have merged into one Orwellian entity, or having Bitcoin linked to terrorism, or using encryption or mixers makes you a cybercriminal? Or will we fight the organizations and groups that have stolen American wealth for more than 100 years and demand a return to the Constitution and the right to privacy in all ways, not just financially? No doubt, those who want to put us in the first situation see Bitcoin and other technologies that improve privacy as direct threats to their power and plans. And picking a side has never been more important. Investigative reporter Whitney Webb gave a scary warning in her most recent speech. Based on her study, she thinks that powerful groups, such as elitists and government agencies, are pushing for policies that will hurt everyone else. They want to take over Bitcoin and blockchain to make a new system of money, one that takes away everyone's rights and privacy. But they need a way to make these ideas happen. The only way they can do it is by making a disaster as big as World War II. People would have to be scared enough by this event for them to agree. She thinks that these groups are preparing for a big cyber attack that will happen before 2025. A lot of people would be afraid if this computer disaster happened, which would lead to support for strict new laws that would give up privacy and control in exchange for safety and security. Watch the movie all the way to the end to hear Whitney Webb talk about how these powerful groups plan to take over everyone's money and online activities. Hey guys, I want to let you know that not all of my users are actually subscribers. If you like keeping up with banking news, you might want to subscribe or like the video. You can back out at any time for free. Now here is Whitney Webb as she tells everyone about the plans. We should be most worried about how these groups, agencies, and public-private partnerships plan to get people to agree with their policies. Some of the policies I just talked about that were made by these groups are likely to be turned down by the vast majority of Americans as things stand. Of course, unless the right disaster happens. Most Americans very worried and scared about hacking all of a sudden. In 2021, there were a lot of high-profile ransomware attacks that made people worry about a so-called cyber pandemic, but we haven't heard as much since then. But now that the last global disaster is over, the US government and the World Health Organization say that COVID-19 is over for good. Some people are sounding the alarm that there will soon be a new major global disaster. Based on what I've said, let's talk to the World Economic Forum about what they think the next big problem will be. According to Jeremy Jorgens, who is second in charge of the WEF after Klaus Schwab, a catastrophic mutation event will happen in the world in 2 years. This was said in January of this year. That's a very sure guess. What is this terrible event that will change everything that will happen before 2025? You win if you got a, quote, hugely bad cyber event. In a talk at this year's Davos, Jorgens said that 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders think that the instability in geopolitics makes a terrible cyber event likely before the year 2025. Jürgen Stock, the head of Interpol and one of the most powerful people in WEFPAC, joined Jorgens in spreading fear about a computer doomsday. I should also say that the UN, which, as I said before, is currently working on a new cybercrime treaty, has chosen Interpol as the best organization to help achieve a number of the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. These include stopping terrorist money flows, keeping cyberspace safe, and reducing illegal markets. When Jorgens and Stocks talked about a terrible cyber attack happening before 2025, it led to crazy news stories about the cyber apocalypse 2023. In the same month, the print version of Newsweek had a scary hacker on the cover with the words "hack attack," which means how cybercriminals get around all attempts to stop them. A lot of the experts that were quoted in the story about the hack attack work for WEFPAC members. In the past few years, there has been a lot of talk about a cyber attack that will end the world. Now, it looks like the leaders of the WEF and WEFPAC are sure enough to give it a pretty short timeline. How bad will this attack be if and when it happens? the present head of the Department of Homeland Security, has said that the next cyber attack will kill a lot of people. This makes it sound like a cyber 9/11 could be on the way, and soon after that would come the Cyber Patriot Act or something very similar. What will people think if Bitcoin is blamed for inspiring or funding the cyber criminals who are thought to be responsible for such a disaster? And what kinds of laws do you think Congress will pass quickly? After what I've said today, the WEF and its allies, which include a number of U.S. government agencies, need a few things to become clear to everyone before they can offer the terrible answers they already have in mind. To stop the global financial system from being broken up, banks, regulators, and the national security state must work together. But first, global financial instability needs to become a major global worry. With everything that has happened since Silicon Valley Bank went bankrupt, it looks like global financial instability might not be too far away from becoming a major worry for most people. People also need to be very afraid of their financial and online privacy to the point where they are willing to give up their privacy for what will be sold as better security. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin that care about privacy and technologies like encryption need to be seen as the enemy of everyone if the proposed solution, a fully monitored internet and financial system, is to be accepted by most people. In the end, this information is meant to show that the battle for control of the cryptocurrency space is a small part of the bigger war going on over the future of our society, our country, and the world. Are we going to sleepwalk into a world of CBDCs where commercial banks, central banks, and spy agencies have all merged into one Orwellian body? Or having Bitcoin that is linked to terrorism or using encryption or mixing makes you a cyber criminal? Or will we stand up to the organizations and people that have stolen American wealth for more than 100 years and demand a return to the Constitution and the right to privacy in every way, not just financially? It is clear that people who want to put us in the first situation see Bitcoin and other technologies that improve privacy as a direct threat to their power and plans, and picking a side has never been more important. Financial privacy and the value of Bitcoin are both seen as threats by the banks, intelligence agencies, and tech companies that partnered with these projects. To stop cybercrime at its source, they would have to do more than just get rid of financial privacy when it comes to crypto. They would also have to work to lower the value of crypto. People who use Bitcoin need to pay more attention to these shadowy groups because they are freely talking about breaking the law to reach their goals. We don't have any proof that Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency is the main cause of hacking. A scam happened a long time before both of them. Some FSISAC members and their partners want to start making digital currencies that will be managed by approved commercial banks or central banks. These digital currencies will be easy to keep an eye on. However, cryptocurrency is a threat to these plans. Especially central bank digital currencies are being made and used in a way that hurts financial privacy and independence. Getting rid of competitors is important for CBDCs and similar projects to work. That's probably why FSISAC has called for a global financial cyber utility to fight the economic drivers of cybercrime. This is the same globalist organization that WEFPAC wants to create. A lot of people from both FSISAC and WEFPAC took part in a 2020 project put on by the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, which is a member of WEFPAC. This was not long before they made all of these claims. William Burns was head of the endowment at the time. Less than a year later, Joe Biden chose Burns to be director of the CIA. A lot of people from WEFPAC and FSISAC came together because of the